Hey guys, this is Dow Phoenix, and I decided I'm going to do a little bit of a response video for the video I posted yesterday on why I love Onlive and myself comparing The Witcher running on my computer natively at the highest settings versus Onlive, and I had the resolution set to the same options. But anyways, the video has gotten a lot of views, compared to my usual videos. I usually get like 50 views nowadays, probably because everybody thinks my stuff sucks, but that's okay. And a lot of these people are haters, because I noticed when I first posted the video, looking at the likes and dislikes, I had like 8 likes or something like that with no dislikes. And then now checking it just now, I'm up to like 28 dislikes and 21 likes or something like that. I don't know. But obviously word kind of spread out, like I mentioned in the description, some elitist PC gamer was going to come and thumbs down the video, and predictable enough they did, and they told their friends to, basically come and watch the video and thumbs it down also. Hey, that's fine. I don't really care. I didn't even say anything in the video. I was just showing exactly how it happened. Some people thought that it was doctored or anything like that. No, actually it is not. As a matter of fact, I made sure whenever I was rendering the video in Sony Vegas to disable any resampling so that the videos would play in their original frame rates. So obviously the frame rate that was on the PC version was not as good. And someone made a comment about how the Onlive version looked a little darker. That might be true. I don't know. I actually didn't adjust the gamma settings for the Onlive version. I don't know if maybe at some point I might have turned up the gamma for the PC version, or whatever the case is. I really didn't notice a difference. Maybe one shade of color difference perhaps. But when you're actually playing the game, you're really not going to notice it. Maybe if you pause in the video and comparing and everything like that. Even then, the things weren't exactly in sync. My online gameplay was actually a little bit faster due to the fact that I didn't have frame rate issues, so I had an easier time of playing the game. So anyways, I'm going to reply to a few specific comments that I got on the video. Okay, so the first comment is from someone named Baricraft. I wonder what kind of fan of a certain franchise they might be. I don't know, maybe it's just a coincidence with their username. Maybe it's nothing to do with a certain game franchise. But anyways, they wrote, a E5300 was a cheap chicken shit processor, and the HD 5450 is a laptop card. It's meant to be very resource and heat efficient. Neither of them are made for gaming. Onlive supposedly runs with the latest gaming hardware available. Going by the upload date, it runs on hardware that is 4 times as powerful as the highest end hardware available on the market at the time the E5300 and HD 5450 was released. The comparison is completely retarded, and so is anyone who believes it makes sense. Well, as I mentioned before in the video, I said that the comparison was, just a regular computer with, a weak graphics card put in there versus how the game runs on Onlive. I don't know exactly what the specifications are for Onlive's network. I don't know if some people speculate they might be just running one computer per gamer or something like that. Or if they have some kind of custom configuration set up to where they can have multiple instances on one server rack. I have no idea. I really couldn't answer that question for you. If you want to know, maybe you can talk to Onlive, and I doubt they're going to tell you either. But anyways, okay, so like I said, that it was a comparison of how the game runs. There's obviously people's computers out there that can't even run that game. But they can run it on Onlive just fine, like they had a high-end computer. And I was just pointing out that's one thing I like about Onlive. You don't need to have a high-end computer to play computer games. That was always one of the barriers to entry for computer gaming, is that you needed to have certain hardware requirements. It's never been a barrier to entry for consoles, because all you have to do is you just have the one console and you can play the game. There's a couple of exceptions, like with Nintendo 64, where you had like the RAM expansion pack that was needed for a few games. But for the most part, if you have a console, it plays all the console games. There's really not, there's no barrier to entry. Once you have that console, you're in. That's not so with the computer. You have to, figure a lot of things out. Plus, a lot of people don't have the money really to put into this stuff. And I didn't pay that much for this computer. With the computer, monitor, everything, I paid like $550 2 years ago. And the graphics card, I paid like $60 for it. And later on, I'm going to get to why I actually picked that particular graphics card instead of something that's more advanced. We'll go ahead and move on to the next comment. Okay, so we're going to move on to Jynxzor, I guess. Jynxzor? Whatever. Okay. So his comment's very simple, very straight to the point. I love viral marketing agents. I can't wait to get paid to make up total BS to sell stuff. Okay. Well, you didn't spell paid right, but I'm not going to, get too hard on you about that. Basically, I guess, but what he means by that is that I'm recommending a product that I am actually not a seller of. I'm not involved in the production of the product or the distribution of the product or the sale of the product in any way. Well, for one, that's not exactly true. Technically anybody is involved in a sale or product. If you make a recommendation to your friends, like let's say Coke comes out with a new, blueberry flavored Coke, which is probably going to suck, but I love Coca-Cola, so I'll give it a chance. But anyways, let's say someone likes that soda and like, hey, you ever tried that blueberry Coke? And like, no, you should just try it out. They have a special on it, okay? And that person goes and picks up that Coke, maybe, if they remember to. But there you go. That's marketing right there. That is an example of word of mouth marketing. Marketing is everywhere, whether you like it or not. There's advertisements. Displays and billboards and radio, TV, all that good stuff, internet advertising. But really the most effective form of advertising is word of mouth, and marketers love the hell out of that. If I could get paid to do that, great. I'd love to do that. I'd love for Onlive to send me free games or whatever, that would make me recommend the product even more than I do. But the fact of the matter is Onlive does have its problems. I'm not going to beat around the bush. That's not a perfect platform by any means of the imagination. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about why I recommend Onlive. I recommend it for people that don't have a powerful computer. If you have a powerful computer, you probably don't have a lot of need for Onlive. Now Onlive does work with laptops and stuff like that. You might have like a old school laptop that maybe can't run any new games or anything like that. So that'd be great to maybe buy an occasional game if you really need something to do on the laptop and you got Wi-Fi access and all that good stuff. Maybe whenever you're using that laptop, you won't have time for games. You won't have any need for Onlive at all then, of course. And they have plans on implementing the service for smartphones and tablet devices, iPads, and all that good stuff. So, and then in addition to that, they have their micro console. So, the way the platform is set up, you can play it anywhere you want as long as you have the internet connection required. And I was just saying, hey, if you might be in this situation, check it out. I know a lot of people that don't have hardcore gaming computers. I looked through my Steam's list. Most of the people I see on Steam playing games are usually playing stuff like Team Fortress 2 because their computers can't run stuff like Crysis 2. But most people's computers can run Team Fortress 2 even on low settings. There's some integrated graphics cards that it works on. So, those people might want to play something like Metro 2033, for example, a game that's highly graphic, high graphic specs on it, but they can't unless they have it on a console. And, you know, there's a lot of people that have, like, PlayStation 3s, for example, that don't have a 360. And they're not going to pay $200-300 for a 360 just to play one game, you know, if they're interested in it. Now, Onlive, you know, if the service is free, then why not? You know, why not? You know, they can try a demo, and if they like it, you know, they can buy it, you know, or if they don't like it, they don't buy it, or if they like it but they can't afford it, they don't buy it. You know, big deal. You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, so if you're going to diss someone for recommending a product, you know, well, as far as I'm concerned, you know, anytime, you know, maybe I'll keep an eye on your YouTube channel, see what kind of comments you're making, and maybe I'll, you know, see what kind of videos you're uploading, see if you're making any kind of recommendation towards any kind of consumer product or service at all, and I'll call you out on your bullshit if I ever catch you do that. Well, maybe I won't do that. I don't really have the time or patience to see that, but obviously, there you go. You know, obviously you're calling me out because, oh, Onlive must suck, surely, and he likes it, so he must be some kind of viral marketing agent. You know, trying to spread bullshit and lies to get people to sign up for the service. No, I mean, you go try it for yourself and go from there. You know, it's completely free to try, which will bring me up to a future point, you know, despite what someone said. So let's go ahead and move on to the next comment. Okay, so up next we have two comments actually from Starjetneoseeker. I don't know, maybe there's more comments, but I might have missed them. First of all, he replied to someone saying, "Oh, really? Do you do know that gaming is something people do everywhere in the world, not just around California, USA, right?" Just a quick response to that. Online servers are currently located in California, Texas, and Virginia. Which covers basically everywhere in the United States except for, like, Montana, which technically someone in Montana could play the service. You know, they might not have a good enough connection to not notice lag. I mean, and some people are going to notice lag if they got some kind of ping problem, but that's not really Onlive's fault if you have a ping problem, unless that is, of course, on their end. And then, of course, you got another comment here. It says, an adequate gaming rig is something that's available globally. An internet connection that can support Onlive or Onlive data centers themselves or not. Thus, this isn't going to get very far. By the way, CD Projekt Red recommends a Jeez, I'm really messing up today. NVIDIA GeForce 7900 GTX for The Witcher. The Radeon HD 5450 is nowhere near that. So, yeah, this is to be expected. Okay, well, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that my graphics card doesn't meet the requirements. But, I mean, like, you know, for the maximum settings, I mean, it can run in the highest graphics settings, as you saw. You know, I showed you in the beginning of the video, I had everything turned up all the way. It didn't run at the best, obviously. I mean, it was not the ideal way to play the game, but it did play the game, and that I was just demonstrating that. Anyways, though, as far as available globally, well, I mean, can you tell me where in the world you can't get internet access? You know, I mean, assuming that they have electricity and all that good stuff. I mean, there is like a very small section of the United States, for instance, that has no access to high-speed broadband. But it's only a matter of time, honestly. You know, it's not going to be, like, set in stone that, oh, they're just never going to have broadband there. It's like telephone or electricity, you know, like these places didn't have telephone service or electricity when most of the United States did. And eventually they got it. So, you know, broadband is only a matter of time, really. And, you know, some people can use satellite broadband, which wouldn't be sufficient for Onlive due to the latency involved, obviously. But, you know, I'm just saying that, obviously, there is a chance that, you know, that this is going to take over. You know, so, I mean, I see what you're saying there. But, it doesn't really go far. Okay? So, let's move on to the next person here. Abon666 Right. No thanks. I prefer to own my own games and have the files saved on a hard drive or CD instead of renting them, but it's a nice alternative. Well, okay. I guess you can somewhat argue that you own the game if you have the disc, because you're able to trade the disc or whatever. I mean, you technically have some ownership rights to it. You don't really have full ownership. You never have full ownership of a video game. Just read any kind of service agreement, license agreement for this software. A lot of computer games particularly limit the number of installations you are allowed, and they are usually pretty strict about those rules. They will only give you an installation back if there was some kind of problem, with the installation or something of that nature. As far as games you download, you never truly own those either. Can you buy a game off Steam and like, well, I don't like the game anymore, I'm going to trade it with someone else? No, you can't. You're stuck with that game, and you can totally have rights revoked to that game too. If you review like the Steam user agreement, or better yet, I'm going to use EA's new Origin system as a better example of this. In the Origin terms of service, they actually reserve the right to revoke your games if you are inactive for 2 years. Now, for most people, that might not be a big deal. But let's say we got someone who, is a PC gamer. They, buy, I don't know, Battlefield 3 or The Old Republic or something like that on Origin whenever it comes out, because they're not going to have it on Steam. If you want to play those games on PC, you have no choice but to get Origin. So there's going to be a lot of people eventually hopping on board Origin. But, you get one of those games, and then let's say you get called out to Afghanistan or something like that. And, you might be gone for up to 2 years. But EA reserves the right to yank your games because you haven't played them. Do you really expect that you're going to be able to play these games while in Afghanistan? Probably not. I really don't know all the specifics on that, but, unless you have it on a laptop, you probably won't. And if you're using a laptop, you probably aren't going to get the best specs anyways. So, or you never know. Maybe EA might restrict you connecting from another country, which, will still consider you inactive. So there you go. You never really own download games. There's always ways that these games can be revoked. You hear people that get their Steam accounts revoked or their Xbox Live accounts revoked for whatever reason, and they lose access to games that they purchase. I know what you're talking about, because you're talking about the whole 3-year rule or whatever it is with Onlive. The matter of fact is, Onlive has already publicly stated in a number of times that they have no intentions of removing a game after the 3 years or whatever. And actually, for a lot of games, they've extended it as much as like 8 years. I think I'm trying to think of what the game is. It's like Saints Row 3 or something like that. It's supposed to be available in 2019. I don't really see a lot of people playing that game until 2019. I might be mistaken. But, that's a pretty long time for a game. And so, you could take it as you will with that. You can rent games on the service too for like a few days or whatever, if you just wanted to rent a game, like, beat it real quick or whatever. But really the point of the matter is, you don't have ownership of any of these games. Basically, in the software agreement, like, you could read that stuff. Go look at a game manual or something. If Nintendo really wanted to, for example, confiscate all the Metroid cartridges because society deems the cover art for Metroid to be, lewd and offensive or something like that, well, they'd have the right to go to everybody's house that has a Metroid cartridge and confiscate it, because it is their property. That's obviously a little far-fetched, but it could happen. It is a possibility. Game companies do that stuff so that they have control over the product. So, if you're not going to purchase an online game just because you might not have it for an indefinite amount of time, well, that's the case. They've already said that they intend to keep the games on the service until the game doesn't run anymore. And I don't know about you, but I have a stack of computer games that I cannot run on my computer. Not because of specs, you know, it's more like my specs are too high. You know, these games either will not run at all on my computer, or if they run, they aren't playable. So, and that's just a matter of fact. You know, there's hardware upgrades, operating system upgrades. You know, computer is a great backwards compatible system, but it's only to a certain extent. You know, some games simply get broken with software and hardware upgrades, and that's just a fact of life. You know, most DOS-based games do not run on Windows Vista or Windows 7. I mean, yeah, there's DOSBox. Okay, I'm not going to talk about emulation or anything of that nature, but you know, it's the fact of the matter that still stands. So we're going to go ahead and move on to PSP Fanboy 22, appropriately named person for someone that's making an argument for PCs. He first says, nice shit PC, and then he says, your PC is shit, get a new one, dual cores are dated, and the Radeon HD 5450 isn't even meant for gaming. Well, really, I mean, yes, it is meant for gaming. Maybe not Gaming Crisis 2 or Witcher 2 or, you know, any high-end game, but it can run most computer games. You know, I haven't yet encountered a game that I could not run on this card. Maybe not at the best specs. I just played Brink on the Steam Free Weekend on this card. That's, you know, a piece of shit. You know, I mean, I was able to play Brink. It didn't play the best. I had to turn the settings down, but I was able to play the game, and the game has pretty high requirements. According to the requirements for Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands, my computer can't even run that game, but I can run that game on high settings. I don't know if maybe they just overestimated the specs because they didn't want a bad user experience if someone had too low specs or whatever. But I can run the game perfect. You know, I mean, I get some minor frame rate issues, but I can run it. You know, I actually posted a Fraps test of that game a while back, and you know, my frame rate was like 20 FPS or something like that on Fraps. Not the best. It's certainly playable. I mean, there was N64 and PlayStation games that sometimes had frame rates as low as 5 seconds, or 5 seconds, 5 frames a second, and you know, a lot of those games were still playable because, you know, the action usually slowed down to compensate for those frames. So let's go ahead and move on. Okay, and so next up we got Adamosmaki, I don't know, whatever his name is. He says, paying a once-time $150 to $200 to make your $400 generic PC be able to play games at mostly high settings is better than paying just to rent games on top of subscription fees. Let alone with the amount of sales on DD sites like Steam, for the price of getting one game on Onlive, I'll end up getting 5 to 6 games that are on sale. Let alone no modding possibilities on Onlive, was a huge plus for PC gaming, let alone the pathetic library compared to something like Steam or Gamersgate, and let alone the lag. And we're also going to go ahead and combine the next guy's comments too, because he pretty much says the same thing. The problem with this comparison and the idiot Onlive user are as follows. 1, you are recording a game running on your system, which is more taxing than recording a stream video such as Onlive. 2, you are limiting the PC version's graphics, 720p really. Even then, the Onlive version is darker and just not that good. Number 3, you don't get mods with Onlive. Onlive will castrate PC gaming. Number 4, you pay for the service and you pay for expensive games with limited features. Love gaming Onlive sucks. Okay, alright, we got a lot of stuff to cover here. Okay. First of all, my PC is not as built. I actually added the graphics card on there. It had an integrated GeForce 6100 chipset. I barely could even run The Sims 2 on this computer. It was very laggy, to say the least. And, but we're not really going to get into that. You know, obviously, you have your set ways, okay? I'll tell you why I can't really upgrade my PC further right now. It's because I had an HP Slimline. as you fail to recognize, not everybody has a giant tower computer where they can plug in 50,000 cards. I got the Slimline for various reasons. I kind of wish I had, a computer with more expandability. I do not, though. And I know the next time I get a computer, I'm going to be decking it out. But I got to deal with what I got to deal with. I got this computer because it was nice within my budget. I like the computer maker and manufacturer, and it was a good computer for the price. I also bought it, at a time when, basically I paid about $550 for the computer with monitor, which I mentioned before. I bought it during a sale, which normally the computer alone would have been that price. But they, only charge $450 for the computer. And then the monitor was normally like $170, and they knocked it down to $100. So I got a good deal on it, for the time being. It was about two and a half years ago, something like that, when I bought the computer. But I have a HP Slimline. That should say enough as to why I can't upgrade my computer. The HP Slimline is a micro ATX form factor. I think it's like a modified micro ATX. Actually, it's not like just a standard micro ATX. And it's got a small power supply. The power supply is like 250 watt or something like that. You can't use hardly any graphics cards at all with that. Even like like a graphics card, it might cost me like $100. I couldn't put that in this machine. It just wouldn't support with this power supply. The 5450 was the best graphics card given what I could put in the computer and not mess it up and actually be able to run games on it. So that's why I did what I did. As far as your remark on sales on Steam and all that, I have a lot of games on Steam. I got like almost 100 games on Steam. So I know all about that. I got some games that I probably shouldn't have bought, based on the specs of my computer. But, I was thinking in the future, obviously I'm going to be upgrading at some point, and I'll be able to play those games just great. You really have a misinformed perspective on the pricing of games on Onlive. I'm going to show you right now, you're looking at it right now, what I pay for Onlive. These are the actual sales figures, if you will. When the service first came out, the sales weren't that fantastic. I got like 30% off Just Cause 2. That was the first game I bought, which was $34.99. And I actually paid full price for Borderlands and Kane and Lynch 2. Whoops, a little big mistake there, I guess, buying Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. But I got Saw for free with that. They had a thing where you get, a free game with that. I don't know why I picked Saw, but I thought it was cool playing it on the Xbox 360, and so I figure why not. And then, not long later, I got Mafia 2 for half price. And if you look at the date, that was literally like a week or two after the game came out. Where else could you have gotten Mafia 2 for that price back in September of 2010? Nowhere. You might have been lucky to get that much money from GameStop if you traded it in at the time. And then I got a couple of, $10 games, Fear 2 Project Origin, Red Faction Guerrilla. They're normally were priced at $20, I think. They had some kind of 50% sale on them, okay? I mean, Steam does sales like that for these kinds of games all the time, so... but does Steam do sales on games for half off a week after it comes out? No. Not unless the game was like $10 to begin with or something like that. And then I got Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Conviction for free, as you can see. That was because I got some kind of code from Onlive to get it for free. And I got Brain Challenge for 75% off, normally $5. Got it for $1.25. Defense Grid Gold, same deal. The Defense Grid Gold that comes with Onlive includes all the expansions. So they think they charge like $14 or $13 for the game normally, but then they with the 75% off it was $3.50. And then Unreal Tournament for $5. And then Aliens vs Predator for $10. So I had a nice little thing going already, but the sales actually improved. They didn't get worse or anything like that. Obviously the service was new, so they were going to do better. So they launched with the Onlive game system back in December. For people that bought at least 2 games, they got it for free, only had to pay shipping. So I got the game system for $9.99. That came with a free game code. And in addition to that, OnLive had, okay, so that's what happened. They had that promotion, and I kind of held on my game code for a while, and eventually I decided to get Darksiders for free. And then a couple weeks later, someone on the OnLive fans forum did a little contest. I won the contest, so I got Metro 2033 for free. And then Dirt 2 for $5 because I had a code that knocked $10 off of any game, and that game was priced at $14.99 or something like that. So I got it for $4.99. And then they launched the OnLive Play Pack. For the introductory month, it was free, so obviously I got that for free. I only bought one game after that, which is NBA 2K11. I only paid $10 for it. Where on the console can you find the game for that price? Okay. I'm sure you can find it for $10 on PC, but PC sports games usually don't sell that good, so it's not a big surprise. But I mean, yeah, it was still a pretty recent sports game. I think it only came out like 4 months ago at that time. Okay, so then I kept the OnLive Play Pack because I thought it was pretty cool, and so I get charged $9.99 for it. It's not a monthly subscription fee to play OnLive. It's just an optional thing. You get a bunch of games with it whenever you subscribe to it, and that's great. I got Braid for $250, 75% off. I bought Homefront full price, but I didn't care. I was looking forward to the game, so whatever. Then another month of the Play Pack bundle, and then not even a month after Assassin's Creed Brotherhood comes out for PC, I got it for $12.50. Not even on the consoles when it came out back in November could you get it for that price. Batman Arkham Asylum for $5, good deal. I already had it on Steam, but I figure why not, So, and then another month of Play Pack bundle, of course. And, obviously, you're still not convinced about the sales, I'm sure. Okay. Well, I got Amnesia The Dark Descent for free, just because the game publisher was cool, and they posted a code on the forums, and I used the code, and bam, got the game for free. Then Split Second came around, and they had this special promotion for Split Second and Pure whenever they came out to the service, that if you buy one of those games, you got a 50% off of any other game code, which will come up later. And then I ended up getting Ghostbusters, the video game, because they had another separate promotion where if you bought a game that was at least $10, you got a free game. And that's how I got Duke Nukem Forever for free on launch. Well, a day after launch. I wasn't available on launch to get it. But yeah, Duke Nukem for free. Okay. That game, I think, normally costs about $40 now. Then another month of the OnLive Play Pack bundle. Then we got Fear 3. That's what I used my 50% code on. So I got it for $24.99. Once again, less than a month after the game came out. It was only literally 2 weeks maybe after the game came out. I got it for $24.99. Where else could you have done that? You can go ahead and reply and let me know. Then another month of the Play Pack bundle. And finally, Silent Hunter 5 Battle Atlantic for $5.25, which I got that for 83% off of the regular price. It was normally $30. So yeah, OnLive doesn't have sales. The games are very expensive here. I've only ever paid full price for 3 of the games on the service. What I consider full price, of it being at least $30, not being on sale. I don't really consider games like Ghostbusters or Split Second as full price games because I got free stuff with those. Actually, there was only 2 full price games I've had the entire time that I purchased, which was Homefront and Borderlands. Every other full price game I've bought, including Kane and Lynch 2, Ghostbusters, Split Second, I got something for that. I was given an incentive to get it. So obviously I did pretty good there. I haven't paid hardly anything. I can name several games on Steam that I've paid full price for. For example, let's see here. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking through my Steam list, so just bear with me. Okay, so for example, I've paid full price on the Orange Box. I've paid full price on Civilization 5. I paid full price on Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition. Left 4 Dead. Well, no, not Left 4 Dead. I'm sorry, my mistake. I paid full price on the Mount and Blade games, Mount and Blade Warband and with Fire and Sword. Paid full price on... what else is there? Okay, I paid full price on Recettear and Item Shop's Tale, Terraria. You know, it's obviously not a huge list of games compared to what I've bought on, in general, on Steam. And I obviously had a lot of sales with Steam also. That's how I got most of my games on Steam, is through sales. But the point is, you know, they're not all sales. You know, there were several games that I didn't have any discount on. It was whatever they were charging at the time, and that's what I paid. And I'm not talking games that were normally $50 and then they lowered the price. I'm talking about whatever the price originally launched at when the game came out is what I paid on those games. So, yeah, the price point is completely moot and utterly irrelevant. So we kind of beat off the topic a lot, you know. Just kind of talk about the price, you know. Obviously the prices can be pretty good with the service. I just showed it to you. You cannot deny the proof. You know, I mean, you'll think it's been photoshopped or doctored or whatever. You know, if it wasn't for the online terms of service where you're not supposed to give out your account information, I'd let you sign in yourself and check it out. But there it is. That's the proof. As far as the comment with you don't get mods with OnLive will castrate PC gaming. No, there's always going to be a market for PC gaming, and there's going to be mods for OnLive too. OnLive has support for DLC for games. It will be a matter of time, I imagine, before mods will be supported, but Steve Perlman, the CEO of OnLive, said that they are going to support mods. They also support games being connected outside the network, you know, for OnLive. So right now, the way they got it set up, if you want to play a multiplayer game, you have to play with other OnLive users. Because the way they got it set up, I guess, kind of like a LAN setup, pretty much. So that's why it's set up the way it is. That's why you can't connect outside the network. But there's already been a few games that have some, you know, capabilities of that. Like, for instance, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood hooks up the Uplay, so you can, you know, do all your Uplay stuff. You know, get the rewards and achievements on Uplay. So, you know, everything that I do on Uplay for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, you know, counts towards my Uplay account. And I can use those Uplay points on a game for Xbox or PS3 if I wanted to. You know, even though it's completely different platforms, everything like that. So OnLive has the support for that. It's just a matter of things being implemented. When that's going to be, I couldn't tell you. But, you know, they've already said they're fine with that. They are fine with mods. They are fine with people connecting to other networks. It's just a matter of, is there going to be a game developer publisher that's going to, you know, there's got to be a game developer publisher that's got to establish that ground. You know, kind of more or less leading the way. And there will be. I mean, unless the service decides to get itself buried very soon, it will happen. As far as the last thing you said, you pay for the service, you pay for games with limited features, you know, subscription fees. As mentioned multiple times, the OnLive Play Pack is a completely optional service. You don't have to ever mess with it. As a matter of fact, you can play all 80 or so of the Play Pack games. You can demo all of them without even messing with the Play Pack, without having to have access to it. So you can try all the games you wanted to do before you decided if the Play Pack was worth it or not. You know, some games you could even demo multiplayer. You cannot do that, you know, in a lot of places. I mean, a lot of games do have multiplayer demos, like you know, mention Homefront, for instance, on Xbox Live. You can demo multiplayer, but they have like 1 or 2 maps. You don't have all the loadouts. You don't have leveling. You don't have a lot of these things that you get on these demo servers. On OnLive, it's the full game that you're demoing, which I guess can be abused. I'm sure if it gets abused too much, they'll implement something in place to keep that from being abused. Hopefully people will be cool about it and just let things stay the way they are so they don't have to remove that feature. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to try games before they buy. I could go through the Steam list of like the last 20 games that's came out on Steam. I guarantee you only one or two of them have a demo. Every other one of them requires you to have that game. You have to buy the game to try it, or you have to pirate it, and that's bad because piracy actually increases the cost of games. Why do you think there's games like Black Ops and StarCraft 2 costing $60? Well, I can answer that. Activision's a bunch of greedy whores. That's why. But a lot of other companies like Ubisoft have been also pricing games for $60 on the PC. EA has been pricing games for $60 on the PC. It's all about the matter of fact that piracy kind of cuts into their costs. With consoles, they have to pay a royalty fee. Usually it's about $12. And that's why the console games usually cost about $10 more than PC games in most cases. So they usually make about the same amount of money off a PC game as a console game whenever there's a sale. Actually, they can make more off PC games if you factor in services like Steam and Direct-to-Drive and Onlive, where they only have one middleman to go through. Or if you, like EA, you start Origin, you keep all the profit. But, piracy eats into that because you got a lot of people that don't buy the game. I know there's a lot of people out there that pirate just so that they can try the game before they buy it. That's cool. But, there has to be some kind of limitation when you're trying a game out. I'm not a huge fan of set-piece demos. I like the way Onlive does it because you get 30 minutes of the full game. You get, see how the storyline starts and everything. You get to try the demo multiple times, too, so you can see if you can get a little bit farther or whatever. But that's how it stands. You do not pay a subscription to play the service. It is completely free to try. You don't even need to put credit card information in to try the service. There's no credit card information required to try the service. Obviously, if you're going to buy something, you'll have to put in credit card information. But, eat your own words. I don't care if you have 16-core processor on your computer and you have absolutely no need for Onlive. Maybe you should at least give it a try before you decide to bash it. I can tell you have not, neither of you. Now, if you live in Europe or something like that, obviously you might not get a good experience because Onlive services have not been set up in Europe yet. It is coming in the near future, but it is what it is. So let's see what else we have here. I'm not sure if we have any more comments. I'm going to take a quick look here. And, of course, that's going to take us to our final comment, which is also from Birdc0re. Actually, he's posted like 4 comments or something like that. I'm just going to comment on the 2 that he did. But he said, the no mods, we already talked about that. Even if it becomes 1080p video is shit compared to whatever, okay. Latency's going to kill online gaming. The technology's nowhere near there. Enjoyed dreaming for 10 plus years. Well, first of all, 1080p, they already have support for that with the service. It's just a matter of fact that with the bandwidth required for the 720p stream, it's like about 3 megabits a second or something like that, which, actually more than half of the United States has internet access to that at least. And then, with the 1080p, it's 4 times the pixels. So for the same quality of video, you would need 4 times the bandwidth. So that would require a 12 megabits a second, thing, which a lot of people may still have, not nearly as much as a 3 megabits. So I have double that on my internet connection, but I would never care about 1080p because I don't have a monitor or a television that runs 1080p. And again, it all comes back to a matter of cost, I don't have the money to buy that right now. I got bills to pay. Got mouths to feed. Because nothing in this world is free, So, kind of paraphrasing Cage the Elephant, I guess, a little bit. But But yeah, but anyways, that's going to be a matter of time. They've actually already said, I forgot what the article is, that they can do 4K video, which I think is a little bit out there, I don't really see that happening for a while, due to the fact that, for one, there's not any TVs out there that play 4K resolution videos. And even if there were, well, there's not a lot of 4K content out there, so that's probably not going to happen for a while. And of course, latency. Gosh, I can't really talk today. Latency issues will kill online competitive game. Maybe it's because I've been talking for like over 40 minutes that I can't talk today. But the fact of the matter is, with Onlive, everybody is on even grounds because you're all, connected to the same server. It's like a LAN setup, basically. If I go on Steam, I got some different competitive games. I can, play Team Fortress 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Far Cry 2, Half-Life 2, Killing Floor. I got all these different multiplayer games out there, okay? And so I can just go ahead and connect to one of these games. But the fact of the matter is, out there, there's always going to be someone that's faster than my connection. That person already has an advantage. Okay? Now, with Onlive, it limits the amount of bandwidth that's actually allowed to connect. And as far as the server, it's like a LAN setup. Now, they might still have an advantage over me due to the input latency that is involved, due to the stream, which is quite small, I assure you. I haven't had an instance where I've had noticeable input latency for months with the service now. But okay, let's say first, instance, I live about 500 miles away from the nearest online server, which is in Dallas, Texas, or something like that. And, I don't have noticeable latency because I live close enough. I got good enough internet connection, so I got good enough ping to, really get a good connection with the service. So there's not any noticeable thing. Maybe if I was a super reflex person, I probably would notice a little bit, but I'm not a super reflex person, so I don't notice that. The human brain has a delay. What you see from your eyes has a delay. You can't watch 200 frame video, for instance, and be able to see each individual frame. Your brain doesn't work like that. It'll blend a lot of the frames together. A reason a lot of console games are capped at 30 frames a second is because for a lot of things like video, that's all you can see is 30 frames a second. And if you factor in the math of a 30 frame a second video, that is about, roughly at, 33 thousandths of a second for one frame. So, 33 milliseconds, let's say. Okay. And your brain may not, you may not instantly respond to one frame of video. It might take a couple of frames. So as long as you're within that kind of level of ping with your internet connection, you're not going to notice anything as far as latency. Actually, it is more competitive, as in it's more fair because everybody is on a LAN setup. Everything is happening on the server in real time. Not so much the case whenever you have a dedicated server elsewhere that works off the internet, rather than the way Onlive does it. Because my ping to the server might be 50 ms. Your ping might be 30 ms. That means that whatever happens on your screen happens 20 ms before it happens on mine. So yeah, there's definitely a disadvantage there. If we both turn the corner, that means potentially you would see me 20 milliseconds before I would see you on the screen. As long as you were quick enough on the trigger, you would even be able to kill me before I even saw you. Or if you were just lucky enough and just decided to shoot the gun right after you got around the corner or whatever. That's not really competitive. I didn't really stand a chance there. With Onlive, I could have, because of the way that it's handled. So, and if you don't believe me, that's competitive. Well, there's a big website called Frag Nation out there that does all kinds of tournaments and events and stuff like that. They now support Onlive for various games. They're currently running a competition for Homefront for Onlive specifically. And, there's been some competitive gaming groups such as the Gamer Girls. They recently did, I think, Fear 3 multiplayer, or no, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood multiplayer competitions. So, there's competitive gamers out there. And the great thing about it is because of the arena, you can watch competitive gamers, in real time. You don't have to worry about, a lot of stuff. There's live stream and stuff like that, of course. Sometimes people will take advantage of that. But then with Onlive, you're getting a full HD stream. You get to thumbs up their comment. If they have their settings enabled, you can actually chat with the person as they're playing. Basically, the arena is kind of like doing a live Let's Play, pretty much. I always say I'm going to do a live Let's Play of that service. Well, I'm actually going to, as a matter of fact. I think I will do that on Saturday. As far as the time frame that I'm going to do it, I'm thinking it'll probably be about 7 p.m. Central Time or something like that. I think it's probably when I'm going to do a live Let's Play. So, and everybody's welcome to join. Make sure to bring your microphone so we can chat. And I'm done talking about this now. I have said everything that needs to be said. I've proven my points. I dare you to rebut it. I really do. I will, seriously consider replying maybe to specific comments, but I will only do it as a text reply. I'm not going to do a full video like this. It takes forever to do, to rebut the comment. But anyways, with that, guys, Down Phoenix out.